not interested.
The song goes like this.
Hey, Peter Franson here from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. Welcome to Trial and Error, where I play the first part of a game or a game demo, usually do that pretty badly, and give you my thoughts along the way. This time I'm looking at the long-awaited by me, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This game is made by the developer who created the Symphony of the Night style Castlevania games, which have been loved by many people, myself included, significantly more than what was the classic, much more hard and not RPG at all style Castlevania games that came before. The term Metroidvania, which describes a game that, well, it has all kinds of different elements to it, but basically it involves exploring an environment, usually side-scrolling classically, and doing lots of backtracking as new elements that you find, items or character upgrades or unlocks allow you to gain access to areas of the map that you previously couldn't access. So there's lots of backtracking and exploring and that kind of thing. For me, I don't merely like a game that's called a Metroidvania to just have those elements. What's important to me is the RPG mechanics that were present in Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So while many have said there is just a glut of Metroidvanias that have been coming out in the last few years, the ones that I actually enjoy because they have those RPG elements have been relatively few and far between. Maybe a little more in the last couple years. We had Chasm, which I just finished last night, and Time Spinner, which I also enjoyed for its gameplay. But I'm always interested in getting another one, and especially one made by the guy who started the genre. And the fact that this is not only based on the mechanics of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but also has that kind of gothic, dark fantasy vibe to it is also totally up my alley. So I think I have a pretty good chance of enjoying this game, but we'll see. No difficulty setting options, which will probably be fine for me. I can usually level grind my way out of problems in these games. You do get the interesting option to change the color of the blood in the game. Oh, hold on, there are difficulty options. Okay, so no easy difficulty, but the default is normal, which is the easiest difficulty. Okay, so we just had an opening cutscene, and these games, well, I should, not these games, but the Symphony of the Night series of games, I wouldn't say are known for their story, at least not known for their story making a whole lot of sense. And a good chunk of that was because of the translation, I think, being pretty rough. But so far, the translation seems to be much improved from that series of games. The main character, it looks like, was part of an experiment by an alchemy guild that was also kind of the church, and I was confused by the opening narration. It described them, I think, as both at one point, so I don't know what that's about in terms of the lore. But she was kind of the unwilling participant in a ritual that prepared her, or was meant to prepare her to become this soul binder type thing, shard binder, something like that, that can fight off basically the demons that came from another world to destroy our world, you know, so, and 10 years ago they succeeded through these rituals with a bunch of people's lives being sacrificed in the process to ward off the demons, but now the demons have returned, and even though she didn't go through the whole process of soul or shard binding or whatever the crap, she is, I guess, best equipped to put an end to it the second time through. So I don't know if anywhere in there is going to be a story that symbolically makes any kind of commentary on religion or Christianity or Catholicism or quote-unquote the church, whatever they might mean by that. But we'll see.
Was that a shard?
I'd forgotten the way it felt. Like uninvited claws scraping across my bones.
As opposed to invited claws that scrape across your bones. Well, this is certainly, I think, the nicest and most modern looking graphics in a symphony-like that I've ever seen. I mean, right now it's as symphony-like as it gets. Save rooms, the growing map as you explore. And I would expect no less. I also like that you get the option to move your character with either the cross pad or the left analog stick. Ooh! What is this? Oh, dang! Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about this a little bit more. Oh, dang! Oh my gosh! I am not doing well against this guy. Well, don't I have a ranged weapon? Let's try that. Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, dang. Oh, okay, and you regenerate your mana over time. That's nice. Oh, what is that? Oh, cool. Nice. That's the second time I've leveled up in about 20 minutes, so I'm liking the pace of how frequently I'm leveling up, and I'm liking the loot that I'm finding at a pretty regular intervals. So there's a nice, steady, frequent sense of upgrading and getting stronger. Oh! Ow is right! Ow! I just love the feeling of the platforming in these types of games. It's not challenging, it's just fun to jump around. I mean, later in these types of games it can definitely be challenging, and I assume it will be later on, but that's not like the main meat of the game, the platforming difficulty. Nice weapon upgrade. Flashing air kick. Okay, that's almost like a fighting game button sequence. Oh, but I need to have the kung fu shoes on for that? Oh, there it is. Alright, that kind of attack ability doesn't interest me as much. I tend to not be very good at entering those button sequences, right? Hey, save room! Nice. There's this nice sense of like, kind of push your luck, because each save room not only allows you to save, but it allows you to heal your character. And so you're exploring the map, wondering, can I make it to the next save room? How much further can I push myself, or am I going to end up getting killed? And if it's too big of a risk, then you turn back to the last save point, get your health back up, and then continue exploring if you can. And in the process of that kind of back and forth, you're also grinding enemies and becoming more powerful. So even with that push your luck element, you can grind your way out of trouble. And that's what I think is kind of the genius of these types of games. If you want the challenge, then you can just try to essentially speedrun or just like not backtrack any more than you absolutely have to. And you can, you know, find challenge there if you just really want to try to blow through the game. But if you find it too challenging, just run around in circles for a little while. It doesn't take long to level up. And all the candles, the lamps that you can get money from by destroying, they all respawn and refill when you come back to an area again. So you can grind for cash too, which I assume will be valuable in a store as soon as I find one. Oh! Oh! Oh, crap. Oh, dang, what is that? Oh, dang, okay, so I just got a new weapon which does a ton more damage, but that is a slower attack. Tap, swing. Tap, swing. Compared to short sword. Tap, swing. Tap, swing. I think I'll stick with that. Oh, this game is pretty, man. The score even reminds me of the classic Castlevania Symphony of the Night games. Probably, I think it's the same composer. But it does sound a bit different when it uses this MIDI type of orchestra as opposed to a more 16-bit type of sound. Oh, boss fight that I'm not ready for.
Jeeble, tell me you didn't do this. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to deal with the name of the main villain being Jeeble. It just sounds too much like gerbil.
I'd given up on my humanity, but you restored my hope. Don't you remember?
Gotta keep just a touch of anime in there. Oh! Oh crap! My gosh! Get up, girl! Oh! Oh, fire! Or what is that? I don't even know. Oh, bad guys. Okay, I need to use a potion. Oh boy! It's not gonna work out for me. Oh boy. Yeah! Oh, what the crap! Still getting some licks in at the end here, huh? Oof.
So this is our contact.
Yes, the church sent me.
Yeah, probably not a Christian church if they're sending their female representatives around dressed like that.
I know you're strong, but be careful.
I will.
The voice acting could really be a ton worse. Especially the child character. That could have had a much more grating anime kind of vibe to it than it did. That's not a big selling point for me. Just an observation. Normally, I would just skip past all these dialogue scenes pretty fast. Oh! Dang, okay, I'm not ready for that area, I guess. Got a picture of Dracula in the background. I do wonder in the back of my mind, could this series also ultimately have as its nemesis Dracula? I don't know, but, you know, Dracula isn't owned by Konami. Oh, who's that guy? Ooh. Oh! Got me. Oh my gosh, I gotta get out of here. Oh crap! Oh crap, girl. Oh man, that was brutal. Nice. Love that feeling of finding a new save room. Oh boy. My gosh. Oh man, did not dodge that. Oh my gosh. Get out of there, girl. Get out of there. Oh crap. Oh my gosh. Oh, dang it. Oh, there I go. Alright, not ready for that guy. Oh, jeez! The heck am I supposed to do against that? Oh man, no, there's no getting past that. My gosh. Alright, so now we enter into the kind of the puzzle aspect of the game where I try to figure out, okay, where have I not been that is not blocked off to me right now?
The castle itself was summoned from hell, demons and all.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, that you're fighting all these demons here, and that they were, like, summoned from hell, and there's really this strange concept of hell that we really take for granted at this point, and it's used so much in movies, that hell is like the home of the demons, and they now and then can get unleashed from hell and, you know, attack the earth and stuff. But properly speaking, nobody is in hell right now. Hell is a final state, and it's created to quarantine and punish demons. Of course, some humans will end up there as well, but it was primarily created as a place of punishment and wrath for demons. Not as like their hideout, you know, where they do their scheming. And it's certainly not a place that any kind of a being will be able to escape from. Anyway, this concept, this faulty concept of hell is like, you know, found a dime a dozen in all kinds of fantasy and supernatural fiction, but I still thought it might be worth calling out. If you're interested more on my thoughts on what the Bible seems to say about hell, which actually might surprise you, you can check out my video, Is Hell Really What We Think It Is? Finally! So getting through that fight wasn't even about level grinding, even. It was about cash grinding, you know, more than level grinding. I bought a bunch of potions to heal myself, a bunch of elixirs so I could keep using my most powerful magic-based attacks, and that got me through. And I really appreciate that because he was moving so fast. I'm just not the kind of player that's going to be able to have the ability and or the patience to learn a boss enemies, all of their movement patterns and stuff. I just am not interested in that trial and error process. I'd rather just go somewhere and grind easier enemies and come back a powerhouse that doesn't have to be all great at this controller business and can get through the fight. So that's really gratifying to me. Oh crap, I'm cursed. Oh my gosh! I'm all messed up. What? What? This kind of game really scratches my itch to explore too, you know, and getting an upgrade like that is really meaningful because it means, oh, I can explore more of the map, you know. I just love seeing what's in that next room. Oh my gosh, it's Shovel Knight. One thing that I had wondered about that was a potential concern was whether or not the enemy variety and the environmental variety was going to be interesting enough. The environments in Chasm certainly started to look a bit samey after a while, but that wasn't as big of an issue as not having as much monster variety in that game. And I'm really pleased with both the variety of monsters and the design of monsters. There's some weird, almost like Lovecraftian, bizarre monsters in this game, and I'm so pleased to see that. I love that kind of bizarre monster design. Oh, that's interesting. So I've been picking up these shortcut shards, and I didn't know really what they were for, but now I get it. It's like every one of these shards, shortcut shards I picked up, basically unlocked a loadout slot in my shortcuts menu. So similar to like Monster Hunter World, where if you're going to go out and fight a certain kind of monster, you can have a loadout that's saved so that you can instantly change all of your equipment to a set of equipment, weapons, armor, accessories, all that stuff that's suited to that particular type of challenge. I've never felt that to be a particular desire of mine in these types of games, except for maybe when I'm grinding for a certain kind of drop from an enemy. Sometimes when you are grinding for a certain component that you need to craft something or, you know, whatever, monsters will have a percentage chance of dropping that item, and boosting your luck stat can help them drop that item more frequently as you attack them. And so I can see this being useful, at least for that, if I'm doing like a item drop grind for a while and want to really just put a loadout on that's all about boosting my luck. Oh crap, I'm cursed! We gotta get out of here! Oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me! Oh my gosh, get out of there! Oh jeez! Reset! No, get out! Oh, I'm cursed again! What? Oh, puppy head! Oh, crazy dog! Well, I've spent over 4 hours with the game and have completed 20% of the map, so I feel like with a game this size, I've played enough to get a sense of, you know, what I am generally likely going to feel about the rest of the experience. And I'm enjoying it. I loved Castlevania Symphony of the Night and really enjoyed almost all of its follow-up sequels in that series that were featured on the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS. And although there have been some Metroidvania games that have tried to recapture that experience of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like Time Spinner, like Chasm, none of them have fully, in my mind, captured the essence of those games. And in part that's because they wanted to do their own things, and I respect that. But, you know, I think a lot of fans of Symphony of the Night just wanted to see more Symphony of the Night games. Just that, again and again and again, more and more and more. But Konami wasn't interested in making more of those kinds of Castlevania games. But the developer now going out on his own and creating a new IP, but that otherwise recaptures everything from those Castlevania games, is awesome. I have noticed that, as with a number of games of this type, there are some lulls every now and then when you've explored a whole bunch of the map and you kind of feel stuck and think to yourself, where have I not gone? What dead end do I need to try again now that I've maybe gotten some certain items or whatever? Chasm had a nice feature where you could actually put a dot on the map. You couldn't label it or anything, but you could just put a little dot, a little marker there if you wanted. And I would use that to mark places, dead ends that I had tried before, just so I could keep track of areas on the map that I'd been to. Because when you save a game like this and put it away and don't come back to it for a day or two, it can be easy to forget, okay, have I not filled in that part of the map because I couldn't and something's blocking my way, or because I just haven't gone over there and checked yet. And so having something to mark the map would be nice as a time saver and to keep you from running around the map unnecessarily. That said, I don't always mind having to do a little extra running around because it does result in some level grinding, which for a player like me is always handy at some point. There's so much that I could say about the game that I like, but what I would rather do is refer you to reviews of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. There's just going to be a ton out there, and some of them I'm sure will give deep dives into why that is such a classic game. Every element from the looting, the various weapon types and how they feel, all the different abilities that you can acquire, you know, all of that is carried over and present here as far as I can tell. This is, I mean, in everything but name, another game in the Castlevania Symphony of the Night series. That's exactly what I wanted it to be. And on top of that, it's got modern graphics, a modern fidelity to the visual aesthetics. This is what I wanted for the Castlevania series. I am just so happy to see it here. Of course, one thing that a little first impressions type review like this can't tell you is what happens at the end of the game. What's the replay value? These games are notorious for having an element that at some point introduces a ton of replay value. There's a secret hidden ending in Castlevania Symphony of the Night that flips the entire castle upside down and drops a whole bunch of new enemies and bosses into the whole thing. Just when you think the game is over, surprise, surprise, you're only about 2/3 of the way through it. I haven't seen quite that level of replayability in the Castlevania Symphony of the Night series games that followed it, but there's usually some element that really provides some great replay value. Will that be present here? I have no idea. I'm sure you could just Google it. I'll let you take care of that. The lore is interesting to me. I don't know where they're going to go, but there's certainly like a spiritual aspect to it. There's definitely some kind of a church involved, and this is ostensibly part of, you know, the real world history. They're mentioning countries like Spain and France, but what's going on in the story, what the church is doing, is just so far removed from reality that I doubt that there's any particular commentary going on here about real-world issues. Maybe it's buried in there somewhere, but there's a whole lot of layers of weirdness over it. Anyway, I'm getting what I wanted. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to get yours in the comments below, and then of course I hope you join us soon over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. I've created some new tiers for our Patreon. On top of many of our original perks, I've added Discord live events, spoiler chat videos, and more. You can get all the info at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions.